Gone are the days when men were okay with looking plain, simple, or bland. Nowadays, men want to look dope, touche, and classy, especially when they have any occasion to attend. Which is why tailors are cashing out big time from the industry. And of course, that is our focus today on SME Hub. My name is Omobolanle Adeshi. Welcome to the show.
A boutique is a small shop that deals in fashionable clothing or accessories. The fashion industry in Nigeria plays an important cultural role and contributes significantly to the country's economics. Casual attire is commonly worn, but formal and traditional styles are also worn depending on the occasion. Clothing incorporates a variety of colors, fabrics, and embellishments which are often beads. Many of the component cultures of Nigeria wear styles that are unique to their tribal society and customs. Nigeria is known not only for its fashionable textiles and garments, but also for its fashion designers who have increasingly gained international recognition. Nigeria's fashion industry has grown in size and sophistication, attracting global attention. Going by the GDP data from the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), the textile, apparel and footwear sector has averaged growth of 17% since 2010. The global fashion industry is worth over $2.5 trillion, with Africa's share estimated at less than 1% of the total. Meanwhile, Euromonitor suggests that the sub-Saharan fashion market is worth $31 billion, with Nigeria accounting for 15% of that, which is approximately $4.7 billion. This is materially lower than South Africa's share, which is $14.4 billion, even though Nigeria has nearly 4 times as many people. Revenue in the fashion segment is projected to reach $1.82 billion in 2022. Revenue is expected to show an annual growth rate CAGR 2022 to 2025 of 12.30%, resulting in a projected market value of $2.58 billion by 2025.
All right, let's delve right into the fashion industry, and it is the men's fashion world. And I have with me Clemens Efanga. He is creative director of Clemens Garment Company Limited. Thank you for joining us on SME Hub. Yes, so let's talk fashion. You know, earlier I was calling you a fashion designer, and then you said no, you prefer to be called a tailor. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so I wasn't thinking that was the first thing you would say, but then
yeah, I like to get people unawares.
And yes, I mean, you could call me a fashion designer. Nothing wrong with that. You can also call me a tailor. But then again, I remember mentioning something that there are a lot of fashion designers who don't know what they're doing.
And there are a lot of tailors who don't know what they're doing.
No, I mean, calling someone a tailor, I mean, there's a general perception that a tailor should be a tailor, as long as the person sits on the machine, cuts fabrics, and sews. So it's fixated already, that name tailor. We can have bad and good tailors, right? But once we start talking about fashion design, creative direction, you move notches ahead of what a tailor should be. So a lot of people say they are creative directors, fashion designers, but then again, did they go to a fashion school? What are they doing? Were they mentored? I mean, why are they fashion designers?
I see. So let's talk about creative direction, or being a creative director. What does it entail? Okay,
so being a creative director, like the name precisely entails, means that you are part of the whole value chain of tailoring, right? You know about fabrics, even before fabric selection. You know what styles you want to make out of what fabrics, right? And you go ahead and determine what styles you want to make out of what fabric. You combine styles. You direct the process of making the garments. You see that the garment has been made, and you see the finished piece. So you can already conceptualize that even before making the outfit.
Yes. Interesting. So did you learn this? Is it innate or something you just grew up to love?
Okay, so I went to a couple of short courses. Of course, my mom was a tailor.
I
like saying that. So I did a lot of self-taught courses. I went
online.
And I'm also going to school again very soon.
The self-taught courses, were they online?
Okay, self-taught can be having worked on the job for a while, you keep on learning by your mistakes, from your mistakes. And you also learn online. YouTube is a very vast place. I mean, the school of YouTube is the best school on earth.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the mistakes. You talked about the fact that you learned from your mistakes. Let's talk about those mistakes that you made so that those who are planning to come into this business can avoid those mistakes.
Okay, so just like any other business, there are a lot of mistakes. I mean, the process of having to come up with looks, I still make mistakes. Sometimes in my head, I'm thinking, okay, this fabric is going to be very good with this
Outfits.
Outfits. It's good, but I mean, it doesn't turn out well. So that's why before you even go about that, you need to sketch, you need to conceptualize, you need to do some of these things.
So you sketch, you can draw.
No, I don't draw, but I imagine and I sketch, but not 100%. I sketch and I use people. I mean, that's a different industry entirely. Using people to come up with your 3D artwork, graphics, sketching and all that.
All right, let's take a break now. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. So let's talk about the challenges. Of course, every business has attendant challenges. Let's talk about some of the challenges in this business.
Okay, yeah, so before now, like every other person, every Nigerian would say, I would have said challenges would have been finance. But then again, as I grew on the job, I found out that challenges, I mean, the major challenge is not finance actually. The major challenge is being able to churn out what your audience would want to effortlessly buy, what they would like. Now, once you document that process and you know that, okay, you will have growth. I mean, if you had 20 people buying before, you move to 40, 50, 60, then you can now start thinking of how do I get money to satisfy these people. Yes, so finance is not the major challenge because you...
But for you, how did you get capital to start off?
We started very small, so I still have pictures of how we started from my parents' 4-bedroom flats. And my elder ones had left the house, so I brought in tailors to that place, so they were sleeping with me in that room.
Wow.
And the first machine I started with was the machine my mom gifted me. So we learned on the job.
So would you say it was easier for you because it was passed down from your mom?
No, nothing is easy. Absolutely not easy. It's still not easy as we speak. So there's nothing that is easy. So if we sell the thought that anything is going to be easy, then the generation coming after us will think that, I mean, they're already thinking that way, that things should be easy.
Okay, so aside finance, what are the other challenges?
Finance, labor, workforce. We don't have the good, we don't have good ethics when it comes to working. That's why you see that entrepreneurs like myself,
Mechanics,
cannot get past where we are. We are the tailor, we are everybody. I mean, if I could delegate, and I'm not saying you can't delegate, but then again, that's where finance now comes in. Because I've gotten to that stage whereby I need to start floating, I need to start delegating. But you can't delegate to someone who is not skilled technically up there and all that. So, and before that person can do your job properly, like the owner of the business, you need to pay very well. So now you need finance at this stage to scale to a particular level, to take it to.
So do you also provide trainings? Because some of them may come in as rookies and then on the job you get them trained. Does that happen?
Yes, I've trained and mentored a lot of people. Now, as we speak, we have a lot of guys in-house who are understudying the tailors who are already there. And over time, in the last 6 months, we've had 2 converted to tailors. Yes. So I came up with that concept because having to bring in a lot of guys sometimes is not very good for the industry because we have the shortage of manpower. They stay with you, take all the skills they can get and get the nitty-gritties, and they move to the next big designer who is bigger than you, can pay more.
Wow.
Then again, these days, people that come into the industry have a lot of liquid cash, right? So once they come in, if you're paying your tailor 150,000 naira, they will offer the guy 300,000 naira. Especially when the guy mentions your name. I used to work here. They're like, can you come? I'll pay you.
But in the blue chip companies, there's something called referral. So I call your former company to know if you have a good reputation, so you don't repeat what you did.
It doesn't happen in our industry.
Wow.
It doesn't happen in our industry. The only time I received a call was from a friend of mine who is also a designer. Incidentally, I used to make some of his clothes. So one of my head tailors sat in his front and he was like, Clem, do you know this man? He's here. He's saying he wants to work. Is he good? Then again, I know you probably pushed my tailor. You're technically asking me if the guy can work with you. So our industry is very non-regulated.
So how do you deal with that issue of recruitment?
Recruitment.
Yeah, how do you get the right people who carry the same
We have
vision?
agents. We have tailor agents. Then again, like every other industry, we have people who are good, but they need to come into a system that can prune and shape them.
Okay.
So I can walk into the street and see a good tailor, and I'm like, "Are you ready to work? Come. You can do better here. I can pay you salaries. In your place, you don't have lights. You can't pay your rent. Customers are coming to beat you every day. Come in my place, I'll protect you, I'll pay you. I'll give you a roof over your head."
Okay.
Do you understand? So some of them would accept that offer and they would come. And some of them would say, "No, Oga, I can't come." Then again, the guys that just finished training from their bosses, their Ogas, the Omoishes, will bring them in. Some of them, relatives always have somebody that they want to give to you to train, who has been a tailor, who just finished tailoring. So take them.
And that way you can even vouch for those ones better than someone you never knew before.
So take like the two guys I told you converted, were brought in by friends who I know.
Okay, so why did you choose this niche for men's wears?
Okay, I knew you were going to ask me that question. Because I wasn't going to talk about it when you asked me. Not officially. But let me just say it, like you also mentioned, ladies have wahala. Thank God you're a lady.
No, you didn't have to say like I mentioned. You could have just said it
I'm not
on your own.
No, that's on my own. You said this, I'm quoting you. Ladies have wahala. Now, we can have good wahala, we can have bad wahala. I used to make female dresses a lot. In short, I used to make all dresses, gowns, right? In short, my lawyer right now, I made a wedding dress.
Wow.
Way back. Yes.
Wedding, you used to make wedding dresses.
I made a wedding
That's
dress
amazing.
years back. But then again, a couple of ladies will take advantage of the fact that you're a guy and you start getting distracted. Because how many ladies would like you? I'm being very blunt here.
Yes, please go ahead.
You know, that's on the one side. Then you see some.
You mean take advantage in terms of sexually?
Yes.
Oh,
happens.
okay.
Then again, you have a lady who hasn't taken so much care of herself in terms of shaping herself. But she's seen an attire on the internet and she's saying, "I want to look like this." And even if she uses a body shaper, she can never be that size. And she will put all the load and blame on you that you couldn't make the dress that will fit her size. Meanwhile, she's not cut out to be that size. We had a lot of that. Even till last week, because of the fact that I wanted to make someone who was the wife to a very big client. Clem, can you help me do this? Yes, ma, I can do it. It did turn out well.
It ended in tears, but let's not delve too much on that. Let's talk about the value chain in this business, the job opportunities. I know you talked about those who craft and draw and all of that. Let's talk about the different aspects.
It's actually very, very fast. If you want to go back all the way to the milling of the wool and the yarns, we're not going to go there. But let's start from the point whereby
conceptualizing.
There are guys who are good with concepts and softwares. You just sell your concepts to them. That's what the big designers do abroad.
Okay.
Sell your concepts and they come up with a visual board. You see it, you tick out what you want to modify it, they go back and prune it, come out with it better.
Does that happen in Nigeria?
Yeah, probably. It has started happening. So you now cut out your patterns, make a sample, but mostly it happens with ready-to-wear lines. So we don't have a very big ready-to-wear line. A line that has about 10 to 20, 30 stores, whereby if you want to make just this shirt, you are making up to 1,000 minimum piece. So for this shirt, you can't cut manually. You need to conceptualize, layer fabrics, come up with what the market would like. If possible, even do market research. If you release these shirts, how long will it go? You understand? So it's a whole lot.
Yeah, so you've talked about the conceptualizing. What are the other value chains?
So you come up with patterning. You pattern of course,
the outfits.
You layer fabrics to see what would be most suitable. Of course, you do your market. You come up with a sample. You do your market research. There's photography in it. There's finishing, quality control, tailoring, packaging, labeling, branding. It's a whole lot.
So do you have all of this in this? No, I mean, do you have those who you work with in this industry to help you?
You need to learn how to break down these processes since you don't have the resources to do these things. So we've cut down on a lot of that. That's why I'm a core creative director. I'll go to the market, see my fabrics, or I'll send someone. In my mind, I'll conceptualize what might work.
What market do you get your fabrics from?
Okay, so locally we get our fabrics in Lagos Island. But then again, you move. There's a point at which you get to whereby you start sourcing for your fabrics and materials outside the country, like getting your buttons, getting your collar stays.
You're saying we don't have good companies that produce all of those?
We don't have one company that produces some of these things.
Sadly.
Yes, even fabrics with us.
So, but you get them at Lagos market. You just said that.
So you have to be smart. You'll be friends and partner with guys who are into these things big time. You sell your ideas to them. They have the financial muscle. They bring it in containers. They give you first rights of refusal. You go and pick the best, sort it out before every other person comes. You'd have taken everything you wanted already.
Okay, so do you do ready to wear or custom made?
Okay, so we started doing ready to wear for our store on the island, our VI store. But I'm more cut out to cutting fabrics and making for people.
Why?
That's my passion.
So a lot of people will tell you, I prefer ready to wear because I don't want to go through the stress of having to take measurements and having to deal with customers' complaints and all of that. What's your reaction to
So you're talking like a lady. Ladies always want that, and it's most suited for them.
Yeah, but that you just said that's what you prefer. You prefer the cutting and all of that.
Yes, so ladies are most suited for that. Guys, I won't say they are nonchalant, but they have regulated body sizes. Except a few people who probably have. I've met guys who have a sleeve longer than one sleeve. Then again, sometimes it's not like that. You know, over time, our body postures would have changed as we age. Some bones would have gotten deformed, you know. So some guys are used to walking this way. So one of their sleeves obviously will be longer by maybe half an inch, you know. So that's why those kind of guys need their measurements to be taken before their attires are made.
So one would wonder why men's fashion, especially when it comes to suits and all of those outfits, are a bit on the high side when compared to the female wears.
Okay, so ladies are critical thinkers. Before a lady buys an item which is not very luxurious, they are better managers of funds, number one. And in terms of fashion, would I say they are more emotional? No, they are not more emotional. Guys are more emotional with what they wear. A lot of guys who are fashion conscious. Ladies are more emotional with how they spend.
Okay.
Yes. So a guy would save his money to splash on a particular piece if he knows that it will boost his ego, it will make him make more money, and it will make him be a man, look better. Because we always want to look better for you ladies, yeah?
Well, you're saying that. All right, so how profitable is this business?
Very profitable.
In terms of what you put in and what you get in terms of take home?
It's profitable. It is. Yes, it is.
You don't want to expatiate.
It's very
because
broad and it's in levels. Yes.
How do you mean in level? What levels?
Okay, so if you want to go into ready to wear, you leverage on numbers. That's on the one side. If you want to go bespoke or made to measure, it's a different thing entirely.
Okay, so if you were to measure the terms of clients when it comes to your ready to wear and that of custom made, which would you say is larger, the client base?
Because of where I'm naturally tilted to, I make more ready to wear attires. People know me for that. For the made to measure attires, people know me for that. But the ready to wear attires are not so much. We just have them sitting there so that we won't lose any customer at any point in time.
So if you were, let's talk about men's suits. The perfect man's suit, what are the details or the little things that you put in that makes that difference between a coat and a suit?
Fabric choice, fit, functionality.
How do you mean functionality?
Okay, you won't just walk into a store and just buy a suit because it's fine. You need to think of how functional that suit will be. What events do I have?
That's the person buying.
Yes. So functionality is very key. That's why you see some guys tell you that this suit was bought for £1,000, and you're like, maybe the guy wore it to the beer parlor. And you're like, this one £1,000. But in his mind, he's wearing a £1,000 worth of suit. But he didn't wear it to the right place. Or he didn't style it properly. You get. So fit is very, very key. Number one priority point. Fit must be very good. That's why when you walked in, you saw a client say, I was fitting the suit. He had to take his time to come fit. Otherwise, we won't get that perfect fit. So after we fit, we now complete the coupling of garments and we deliver to the client.
So I know that, and you also touched on it earlier, the fact that artisans are not very good with meeting up with time schedules and all of that. How do you stand out? How do you ensure that you do not, they call it falling the hands of your clients?
It's a very big struggle. It is. So most clients do not understand this. That's why I put it up on my status today that this period you need to hug your tailor if he's trying to deliver, if you meet him. Now environmental factors are against us tailors. Human resource are against us. Government policy is against us. The government is against us. I have to provide my power. I have to provide my shelter, my workplace. I pay tax. I have to look for my money. I have to take care of my staff, the extended families, and my children and their father. Because they can't run to any social welfare service. It's non-existent. So all of this is on the head of one entrepreneur. So the more you grow, you see that the tendency of you either remaining on business or closing shop faster is there. Of course, God's grace is abundant. You need to look for how to tap into that as it is, but it's very difficult.
So how do you meet up? How do you ensure that you do not disappoint?
I don't even know how I meet up, but I want to tell you something. That passion supersedes everything. Sometimes when I'm here by 10 p.m., I'm so tired. But then again, I remember that Mr. Richmond wants his suit tomorrow. If I'm not passionate, I will stay back and cut it. I will go about like, bullshit, Mr. Richmond, I beg. I can't go back and kill myself. But then again, the element of passion will now come in. Is what I enjoy doing. But yeah, let's cut this clothes because I don't want to disappoint this customer. That's my person. But some tailors who are businessmen, who are fashion designers, who are in it for the money, would say, they won't do it that way. They have their own school of thought. But I'm just telling you who I am.
Okay. So how do you get your deliveries to your clients?
We have dispatch services. I will place in spaces. Either the client walks in or we send to the client.
Oh, okay. So it's the choice of the client. So if you were to, look at the Nigeria fashion industry and that of the international community, how would you rate us? Coming from where
we're growing in leaps and bounds. I tell you, as I speak to you today, I'm not going to mention figures and numbers, but I've had clients over the years who are we're making items that we're selling to about 3 countries as I speak to you.
Oh, wow.
Right now.
What countries?
We have the UK, London. We have Australia. We have Ghana. We have the US. 4. You understand?
Amazing.
And these clients reached out to us. Most times they're Africans anyways.
Okay.
Not necessarily Nigerians. So yes, we are trying. They respect our space. And I notice that most times when I travel, even to sister African countries, the guys there want to approach me to make attires for them. Meanwhile, they have good tailors over there. So they like what we make. I mean, we're the giant of Africa in terms of fashion. People look up to us. Even the Western fashion is tilting towards Africa. They start using our fabrics, even if it's not the same quality, but they take the patterns and recreate these patterns and use them for their footwears, for their jackets, for everything. The Chinese have started making kaftans. Yes, so and they still send it back to Africa. So I mean, yes, we're trying. We're doing good.
So where do you see it in the nearest future?
Nearest future, it will be the next big thing after African music. If good money is put into it.
Okay, so if you were to rate where of course, you started some years back and you're here now. If you were to measure the level of growth, what would you say has helped, or what do you think could have made the level of growth faster?
One thing, consistency. Nothing else.
Okay, so so a lot of people talk about men's fashion, agbada, suits, and all of that, and a lot of creativity have come into all of that. And you, as a creative director, I'd like to know, how do you conceptualize those designs? What are things that make you or make your creative juices flow?
No idea is original. Everything has been in existence, so you need to learn to tweak ideas. If you start getting creative blocks, there's something we call creative block.
Just like writer's block.
Creatives, yes. So no idea. So you have to explore, look at what other guys have done in the industry. How do you want to change on this? How do you want to make it better, of course? So I mean, you would always have ideas. You can draw inspiration from plants, from the rainbow. There was a time I came up with the rainbow collection. I just fused a lot of that we had we showcased in Durban 2 years ago before COVID. So you come up with different. I mean, I can get an idea from this camera, the shape of this camera, and I'm like, okay, how do I change things? It might look very weird, but I mean, you can come up with ideas from anything in nature.
So what would you say is the selling point of Clemma's garment? What is that thing that differentiates you from every other brand?
Do I even? I just know that I want to make good clothes, and I try to make good clothes. I'm not looking at competition, I'm doing my own thing.
I like the originality. Yeah, so what would be your advice to up and coming fashion designers, tailors out there?
Try and be consistent, try and be original, don't copy, don't fake it till you try and make it. Just do your thing, satisfy your clientele as much as you can. Yes, that's all.
All right.
God will smile.
Thank you so much, Clemma Sefanga, Creative Director, Clemma's Garment Company Limited. Thank you for your time on SME Hub.
Welcome.
Oh well, that's it. Today we've been focusing on men's fashion with Clemma Sefanga, and it's been a very interesting time. I hope you've been able to pick one or two things. My name is Omobolanle Adeshi. Remember, the conversation continues on all our socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as YouTube. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.